probably seen photos of La Boca, a colorful neighborhood to the southeast of the capital. The name means mouth.
La Boca is actually one of the most touristy places in Buenos Aires, and a large amount of market stalls and knick-knack shops make it very popular for tourists.
El Caminito. It means the little road. Here you'll find tango dancers in the street and a lot of people taking selfies.
You can also find some mini art galleries like this one. Not long into our exploration of the neighborhood, of course, we had to sit down at the restaurant.
And this was Ela's first time trying out empanadas, so I was pretty excited myself. Sorry, there's a tango singer accompanying us.
Esta es una empanada de cebolla y queso.
Okay.
In Spanish? In English?
This is an empanada of with
This is
onion and
onion and cheese
cheese.
empanada. And this one is of meat. Look.
Ooh, is it tasty? Is it a thing to eat them at the same time? No? Is only one thing?
I'll show you.
We ended up paying the equivalent of $20 for one coffee, one cappuccino, one water, and 2 empanadas, in which the empanadas were the cheapest thing.
Absolutely. After that, of course, we left the money-grubbing Caminito and stepped inside one of my favorite museums in the whole freaking city, PROA.
So we got to experience this exhibition by Anish Kapoor, who is a British Indian sculptor specializing in installation art and conceptual art.
Representations of color, emptiness, and shape, which is just a fancy way of saying this giant chocolate cake. And a cannon that shoots paint/blood at the wall.
This is
El origen del mundo.
the origin of the world. Pimple is a pimple.
And there you have it, La Boca in a nutshell. Up next, it was time to take that bus. Sponsored by our tia, Carola. The first stop was Puerto Madero on this city bus. Very fun.
So the bus ride for the entire day cost 700 pesos for Ivan, who is an Argentine citizen, but it cost 1,700 pesos for me because I am not an Argentine citizen.
So, this is called Puente de la Mujer. It's supposed to represent a woman.
Yo,
Not only that, it's in the shape of a tango dancer.
that's a tango dancer.
Yeah. So it's a woman extending her leg backwards.
Oh, okay.
And this is Puerto Madero, where just a few days before, a rich millionaire tourist got shot. It wouldn't be a trip with me without a beer stop, and of course Ella needed her ciggy. And then it was back on the bus. After Puerto Madero, we entered Buenos Aires proper and just roamed around the cool side of town. And I think this is one of the most famous pedestrian walkways in the downtown area. I'm not sure.
If you look at the buildings in this part of town, you will notice that they look somehow Italian. And, well, basically, the whole time we were in Buenos Aires, I had this feeling that I'm in a parallel universe, because not only it was hot when it was supposed to be cold because it was December, but also because a lot of things looked Italian, like buildings, like pastry shops, like shops in general, like you name it.
It was a perpendicular universe.
But everyone was speaking Spanish.
The widest street in the world is in Buenos Aires, and it's this one, 9 de Julio, the 9th of July, which is kind of like the 4th of July, just a few days later. Here we have Plaza San Martín. San Martín, we know, is one of the great liberators of this region. The sunshine continued to hit us, and this is Ella doing a Terrence Malick Tree of Life shot. If you pay attention to the sky, you start to get a feel for why the Argentine flag is the color that it is. That tower off in the distance is the English Tower, or La Torre de los Ingleses, right there.
This is the only church I actually saw in Buenos Aires other than the Metropolitan Cathedral.
And here we have the Law Faculty of Buenos Aires, a magnificent building, very magisterial, of course.
And here we have the Floralis Genérica, which is a sculpture made of steel and aluminium located in Plaza de las Naciones Unidas, created in 2002. And it was designed to move, closing its petals in the evening and opening them in the morning.
About an hour later, we reached this part of town, Plaza Italia, a wonderful Plaza Italia, a famous historic plaza, not too far from our grandmother's place. There's a subte, a pharmacy, a Coca-Cola, a building, so pretty, blue sky, the greenery. And this guy right here, you might recognize him from your Italian history books, Garibaldi, the liberator of Italy, or the unifier, something like that. Anyway, we were more interested in the food. Don't worry about those big numbers. Just divide everything by 20, or 30, or 40.
Or 65.
Or 65. It just really depends on what year it is. Pastry shops are one of the few places where you feel Christmas is coming.
But apparently panettone is actually more expensive than meat at $10 a piece.
Argentina, land of the upside down. Near the end of our trip, we take a train from the Belgrano station to Martínez. Here we have Martínez, full of art, cool things, coffee, and this crazy cool bookstore.
We walked out this bookstore with yet some more books. I added one more cookbook to the collection.
We were traveling with family friends and found this really cool bookstore.
So pretty unicorn. Baby, so pretty. You would buy me a unicorn?
We did not get the unicorn, unfortunately, and we continued walking. If there's one thing not missing from Buenos Aires, it's cool cafes, and orange trees, and blue skies, and good vibes.
Martínez is actually a suburb of Buenos Aires, but it doesn't quite look like a suburb because it has everything.
Also, Buenos Aires is freaking huge, and so a suburb looks like a city, and it actually was. And at the end of the day, we went to go visit our uncle with his 4 kids. Here we have Santos, cool cousin. Of course, we saw some stuffed toys and had to play with them a little bit. And this is the grocery store that my father used to go to, along with my uncles. It was a lot of fun for them, I guess. It was called the Tandi, and now it's just a regular Carrefour.
Maybe you're so tall you don't even fit into a video.
What better way to end the day other than with a bunch of freshly made, homemade milanesas?
One last activity with uncle and aunt was to go to El Tigre, this far north neighborhood where the Rio de la Plata meets El Paraná in this delta-ish region, famous for its woven baskets made of mimbres. There's a song where the guy's like, and then we go to El Tigre to buy lots of mimbres. And so you can make any kind of furniture with mimbre. Just wrap it up, tie it up, weave it, wove it, swab it, swoop it.
¿Y lo mojan para después manipularlo?
Lo hacen verde. Cuando está verde lo hacen y después se seca y queda.
O sea, esto no se puede tocar ya.
Esto ya está. Pero cuando lo hacen
Tigre looks like a suburb, but it's actually a separate town in the Buenos Aires province. It is situated in the north of Greater Buenos Aires, around 28 kilometers north of the actual city of Buenos Aires. The Puerto de Frutos, which is the fruit port, is now a craft fair located in the old fruit market by the riverside.
A paradise of home decor. You have lampshades, a sofa, chairs, and shelves, everything you can imagine. Tigre lies on the Paraná Delta and is a tourist and weekend destination, reachable by bus and train services. Did you know? The city sits on an island created by several small streams and rivers and was founded in 1820 after floods had destroyed other settlements in the area. The area's name derives from the tigers or jaguars that were hunted around here on occasion in its early years. The area was first settled by Europeans who came to farm the land, and the port developed to service the delta and to bring fruit and wood from the delta and port upstreams.
Dance, baby, dance, dance, dance.
After about 5 hours of lunch and meat and ice cream and coffee, I heard a little voice to my side that said, let's go to San Telmo. And I was like, babe, there's a second coffee and then some dessert. Don't you want to stay for that? He's like, no, San Telmo. So
We went to San Telmo, which is one of the places I really wanted to see.
after I told her about it.
The main attraction on that day, which was a Sunday, was the Sunday flea market.
You can buy anything there. Pins, hats, dancing shoes,
Old bottles, jewelry,
new bottles, old jewelry,
magnets.
and much more.
San Telmo looks kind of like Bucharest Old Town.
A little bit.
It is a well-preserved area of the Buenos Aires Old Town and is characterized... Why can't I say this word?
And is characterized
By its colonial buildings. Cafes, tango parlors, and antique shops line the cobblestone streets, which are often filled with artists and dancers.
and tourists.
A lot of tourists because it's one of the two most touristy places in Buenos Aires.
And we had coffee, then rushed home for our goodbye dinner party with the fam and friends. It was awesome.
You have just enough to buy one?
Baby, let's just pay with the card.
Yeah, pay with the card.
Yo.
Monday, the day of our flight, started with yerba shopping.
Because I get really thirsty in the mornings, and the best thing to drink is some energizing, mineral-rich yerba mate.
Here are some fabric shops from the taxi window. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to snoop around.
No, because Ella wanted to just go 10 days instead of 2 weeks, which is what I said we should have done.
So, since our trip is coming to an end, here are some conclusive remarks about Buenos Aires from me, an Eastern European who never got outside of Europe before this. Buenos Aires is freaking big. It's the biggest city I've ever seen. Even London and Paris seem super small compared to Buenos Aires. I was aware that Buenos Aires would look somehow European, but I was expecting to see some areas that looked South American. The areas that looked South American were, in the end, just some neighborhoods on the outskirts. I was expecting to see more colonial architecture, but in the end it looks overwhelmingly European.
Gracias.
Hasta luego. Y baby, ¿cómo está la baby?
Oh,
¿Descansaste, baby?
Sí, un poquito.
My backpack open?
Yeah.
But I was expecting it to be more exotic, I guess. The cost of living in Buenos Aires is lower than in Bucharest, but the average monthly net salary in Buenos Aires is 23% lower than in Bucharest. So, all in all, the standard of living seems to be a bit better in Bucharest. Another thing that I noticed related to this was how old cars looked in Buenos Aires. It's either people can't afford to change their cars very often, or they just don't care about the latest, flashiest models on the market, which might actually be a good thing.
It was gonna make me sad to leave Buenos Aires. There's a book title called I Hate to Leave This Beautiful Place, and that's how I feel every time I board a plane, headed north, anywhere but Buenos Aires. You might be wondering why we only stayed a few days in Buenos Aires, a handful. Ella's mother, Nina, who's a wonderful cook and a wonderful person, would never have forgiven us for not spending Christmas with her. We had her delicious food to look forward to, so I guess that's the happy note.